Welcome to JC News, your intake into the political world. I'm Josiah Camp, and I'll be your anchor for tonight. Now, as we are certain our viewers have already heard, on the 27th of March, the current Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, or Albo, as us Australians lovingly call that man, announced that Australians would be going to the polls on the 3rd of May of this year to elect our next Prime Minister in a federal election. Now, as we at JC News value ourselves on making sure that we have informed viewers when it comes to political matters, that's why we were founded. We are here today to present a brief and unbiased summary of the policies of the two major parties, the current ruling party, Labour, and the current opposition party, the Liberal National Coalition, or the LNP for our Queensland viewers, as we approach the 2025 federal election. Now, let's get this started with the party that's currently in power, the Australian Labor Party. This party is the Honourable Anthony Albanese, or Albo, as their candidate for the position of PM for the second time. Anthony Albanese having already assumed the office or the seat as PM in 2022 federal election. Before that, he had served as the deputy leader of the party in 2013 for a short time, a couple of months, and most significantly, the candidate for his electorate since 1996. Now, let's get into the policies of this party. The simplest way of looking at it is that Labour is focusing more on helping with the cost of living when it comes to getting re-elected. If Labour is to get re-elected, its promises include cuts to taxes, more energy bill relief, 20% off your HECS debt if you have got one, strengthening Medicare, permanent free TAFE, or all those in TAFE, making sure that childcare is affordable, and in the case of the wonderful housing crisis that Australia currently faces, they shall build more houses. Let's look into the policies that we at JC News believe our audience would love to hear more about. Firstly, their policy in strengthening Medicare. This will be achieved by delivering more bulk billing, GPs, opening more Medicare urgent care centres, introduction of cheaper medicines, the training of more doctors and nurses, and finally, a brilliant investment of $790 million into women's healthcare and building clinics more focused on women's healthcare and just getting more research when it comes to women's bodies, as most of our research is mostly on men when we give medicine to people. Histories. Yeah. Secondly, their policies when it comes to protecting our climate. This will be done through Australia's energy grid, which I believe is 40% unrenewable. Renewable at the moment would become 82% renewable by 2030. And unlocking a $8 million funding when it comes to discovering more renewable energy and lower emission technologies in Australia. Thirdly, they would attempt to make our economy grow. This would be accomplished through tax cuts for over 40 million Australians, along with a 150 energy bill relief for every Aussie, along with cutting the student debts for those who have already attended uni in Australia. And fourthly, and their final point that I believe you guys would love to hear, is they will be creating better opportunities when it comes to education. This would be created through making sure that early education is simple, accessible, and affordable for all Australians, along with a cut to student debts, as I said before, along with their lovely policy of free TAFE. Now, we have a news reporter out in the field who will offer you a brief switch when it comes to the scenery instead of my office or the studio and the details of the coalition/LNP's policies and our wonderful Wide Bay reporter to you, Josiah Camp.
Thank you, Josiah. As you can see from the campaign sign beside me, the two major parties have already started their campaigning for the federal seats, and people are throwing their support and the lawns behind the support of their chosen party months before the election is even to come about. We also have still 2 months until that. Now, in the case of the Coalition's bid for the top seat of Australia, we have a Queenslander from Brisbane, the Honourable Peter Dutton, who has served as the leader of the Liberal Party and the Coalition in extension since 2022 and even earlier in a multitude of minister positions from 2004 to 2007. He was the Minister of Workforce Participation, and then later from 2013 to 2022 in a number of portfolios until his eventual promotion to the party leader. The simplest way I can see it is the coalition, or LNP, because they are attempting to get elected into office and they're not fighting for re-election. Their policies are far more reactive towards the 3 years that Labor's had than Labor's policies. Firstly, they shall fight to keep down the cost of living. They will also try to build a stronger economy. They'll deliver affordable and reliable energy. They'll fix the housing crisis. They'll deliver quality healthcare along with growing a stronger Australia, a point argued by the junior member of the coalitions, the Nationals. They will also focus on practical action for Indigenous Australians, building stronger and more sustainable communities around Australia, and finally, cut wasteful spending. Now, the major points that we at JC News believe that you should know as a person who is entering into politics, firstly, is their cost of living policies, because that is the major arguing point of their opposition. First, they shall rein in government spending. They will deliver cheaper energy. They'll focus on keeping supermarkets from exploiting consumers, protect the retirement savings of Aussies, boost housing supply, and help younger Australians overcome the deposit hurdle of entering the property market. Secondly, we shall see a stronger economy under them, according to them. Now, again, this includes reining in government spending, providing lower and fairer taxes, a focus on turbo boosting our mining and resource industries. Following this, they will also support Australian businesses to become leaders in emerging scientific and also engineering fields. Hand in hand with this will also be the investment of our infrastructure, bringing focus and support back to our neglected regions that are central to our nation. Thirdly, they will also be helping with housing. Thirdly, they will boost housing supply. They will achieve this by building more houses, much like the other side of the party spectrum. This will make cuts to the shortages of houses that we have. They will also fund essential infrastructure to be built. They will fight infrastructure for interest. They'll implement a 2-year ban on foreign investment into Australia. They will support first home buyers and older women to overcome prohibitive challenges. They'll invest in skill development so that we can have more tradies, so that more houses are built. They will also restore the Australian Building and Construction Commission and maintain a home guarantee scheme. And finally, their most prominent thing for their junior partner, building a stronger regional Australia. This will be achieved through investment in roads, rail and local infrastructure for the communities that are regional or rural. There will also be funding enabling infrastructure to help unlock new building areas in regional and rural Australia. They will also ensure that the government regulations will be balanced and genuine to all Australians instead of just focusing on the major cities. They will also improve access to telecommunications and also high-speed internet. Following this, they would also be supporting regional healthcare workers to be attracted into the regional areas and rural areas of Australia. They will also focus on recruitment, training more in the area, and then also making sure that they do not leave out of the rural areas by offering equal deals that the cities can probably offer them in private sectors. They would also focus in on producing a flexible healthcare and also education services for families living in rural, regional and also remote communities in Australia. That's all we have on the policies of the coalition. A much stronger list, or a much longer list, of policies to win over the population of Australia, as they're once again trying to fight to get into the seats, not to get put back into the seat. However, that's all we have for today.
Thank you, Josiah. Now, that's all we have, folks, on the brief little summary of the policies of the two major parties in Australia. Before you leave, however, we also wish to highlight that if you want to, and honestly, you likely should look into the policies and the voting patterns of your local members and the two former parties that we mentioned above, please look at the website They Vote For You. That is theyvoteforyou.org.au, where you can find a quick look into the voting history of your local member in office, as well as the voting history of the leaders of each respective party. Remember, Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton. Now, with that all said, we thank you for joining us at JC News tonight, or today, or whatever it is, and we wish you all a wonderful morning, day, afternoon or night, once again, whatever it is, remember, an uneducated vote is a vote that is thrown away. Goodbye.